Hey guys, okay, so we've kind of been rocking a bit of a changes theme when it comes to our social media of late. 2 weeks ago, I did a video where I talked about the built to boundary changes. Then last week, I did a post where I talked about the siding variation changes. And then again, at the end of last week, I did a video where I talked about the state changes. So I thought, hey, you know what? Why don't we just continue this whole changes theme? And this week, why don't I talk about the changes within the operational works space? So what do I mean by operational works? Well, quite simply, I'm talking about filling an excavation greater than 1 metre in height where not directly associated with a structure that is accessible under the building approval. Bit of a mouthful. In super simple terms, I'm talking about situations where people want to fill their backyard, their front yard by more than 1 metre to create a nice level playing field for the kiddies to run around. Yeah, if you get those applications or inquiries for those applications, run. Honestly, just run. It's funny, I was actually having a chat to B earlier this year about our whole business and all of that sort of stuff, going, okay, where's some opportunities for improved efficiencies? How can we make things run smoother? How can we make your life easier? Is there anything you want to see? And without hesitation, the very first thing she said to me was stop accepting operational works applications. They are more pain than they are worth. Like, that puts it in a bit of perspective. So why do I say this? Well, last year, back in the good old days, if we wanted to lodge these applications, you just simply needed some architectural plans or building design plans which showed what the walls would look like to the external people, so the neighbours and all of that sort of stuff. Then you'd need a site plan showing where the retaining walls were going, and then you'd need some RPEQ endorsed structural plans. So some structural plans that show essentially how the wall was going to be built. Yeah, things have changed a little bit. Council's kind of stepped up in terms of their requests and requirements for these applications. We now need RPEQ signed earthworks plans, so a plan that shows just how much fill and cut is going to be everywhere across the property. We also need elevation drawings prepared by an RPEQ, which show the spot levels, the surveyed levels, finished levels, all of that sort of extra information. Every time we go back to an engineer at the moment to go, hey, we need you guys to prepare these plans and make sure it's signed, each page needs to be signed, etc., etc. The natural response is, I've never had to do this before. And we're like, yeah, we know, but times are changing. Sorry, guys. So this is naturally leading to a lot more cost on applications, more delays on applications. It just is not fun. To boot, council unfortunately is really cracking down on the height walls on boundaries where the wall faces an external property, or an external party, I should say. So they're really forcing us to step at a 1:1 ratio. So you go up 1 metre, across 1 metre for some landscaping, and then up 1 metre and across 1 metre, etc., etc. So yeah, we've seen a shift in terms of the reporting requirements, and we've seen a shift in terms of what they're prepared to accept. Now, people inevitably, I mentioned this in the video where I talked about the built to boundary changes, people always, for some reason, sit there and go, council, they're just trying to mess with us. Like, they're just going to screw with us, all of this sort of stuff. And I go, what do you actually think council's doing? Do you think the officers are sitting there going, how are we going to mess up these people's lives? Like, no, it doesn't work that way. These changes are as painful for them as they are for us. They have to deal with the negativity and the barrage of complaints and stuff that naturally come as people try to resist that change. So they're not out there actively trying to find ways to change the rules and evolve and all of that sort of stuff. Again, as I said in that built to boundary video, these issues or these changes always stem from an issue. They always stem from a blow up on a job. So somewhere out there in Brisbane, there has been a blow up where people have said, hey, you didn't look at these applications in enough detail. You didn't scrutinize these things in enough detail. You should have asked for more information, blah, blah, blah. Or they've sat there and gone, we don't like the outcome here. You should have forced them to step, etc., etc. And council's just gone, oh, why are we subjecting ourselves to this abuse? Like, why are we putting ourselves in this corner where we've got to deal with so much hate and negativity? Let's change the way we assess things and make our lives easier. Like human nature, who wouldn't do that? Okay, I think that covers off everything I want to talk about today. As I always say, until next time, thanks for watching.
For all you red tape lovers out there, I have one thing to say. Well, no, actually, I've got 3. Number 1, the advice provided in these videos is general in nature. It's not site specific. You would be a silly Billy to go and make financial decisions based on this advice without first checking with the town planner. Don't be a silly Billy. Number 2, Brisbane Town Planning is in no way linked to Brisbane City Council. The views expressed in these videos are my own, not council's. So if you don't like them, blame me, not council. Number 3, what was my number 3? Oh yeah, the views expressed in these videos are accurate at the time of recording. If you're watching this video back 10 years from now, the views may not be so accurate. That's all. Bye.